Hello, it is Monday, December 20th, 2021. This is public service announcement. Please do not waste your time watching this video unless you have a very specific reason to watch this video. What is this video? Well, it's just my kind of way of answering the question: is consistency more powerful than intensity? And I used to sometimes, not often, but I used to work out intensely in the past. And now I'm working out with more consistency and less intensity. I'm going to see which one is going to help me towards my lifetime fitness goals, because this is something I want to do for a lifetime. So this is a workout that is very simple, probably around 20 exercises, probably around 20 sets, not doing multiple sets. And what it is about 4 repetitions per set, and not really heavy weight. So it will be easy to do. I can knock it out in 13 minutes. I try to put about 20 of it because I realize that I've read somewhere, maybe multiple places, maybe it all comes from the same source, but like a basic level of fitness would be some sort of training, something to get you sweaty, something to get you moving, 3 times a week, 45 minutes each. And if I add that up, 45 plus 45 is 90, then add another 45, that is gonna be 135. So 135 minutes, a little over 2 hours and 15, well, right around 2 hours, 15 minutes. And let's say I do this for 13 minutes, 7 days a week. So what we got is, well, 13, or 3 times 7 is 21, so that's 21 minutes right there. And 3 times 10, or 7 times 10 is 70 minutes, hour 10 minutes, plus that 21 minutes, so hour 31 minutes, so it's slightly under that, even if it's 20 minutes, or even if it's 13 minutes. So trying to get, I'm not really so worried about the time. I know they hang out in the same hemispheres, I guess. That's the wrong word, but best word I could think of right now. So that feels like it's going to get, and I think there's going to be more bonuses to it. And I think one of the big bonuses, I think, will be towards the 4 phases of breath, since most of the cycles, most of the sets are 1 cycle of breath. 1 cycle of breath is broken down into 4 phases. So the first repetition uses the first phase of breath. For me, in this case, that is an exhale. So I exhale, do that first repetition, then I hold empty, do that second repetition. Then on the beginning of the third repetition, I start to inhale. Hopefully inhale throughout the whole 3rd repetition, then hold full for that 4th repetition. That's it, I'm done. Simple, lightweight, good, happy. Okay, now that I've talked about it enough, now I'm trying to, it's almost like I try to sell myself on this every time. I try to enjoy this, and yeah, it feels good talking with you about this. So anyhow, I'm out with a friend this weekend, and every time he comes down to, his hometown, he wants to go walk on the beach. But something kept him from walking on the beach. So I got to walk on the beach, and get a phone call. Hey. Anyway, so yeah, just thinking about that, but not really thinking about that. Hopefully a lot of good things for a lot of folks. Should probably throw out a couple phone calls and to the folks I appreciate that may not know I really appreciate them, but I hopefully will. I know I've done at least one text out there. Okay. All right. Start out with stretches. I'm going to follow that same thing. Sometimes for the stretches, I like to do the inhale first, but in this case, I'm just going to stick with the, I'm trying to get that almost subliminal, built-in manufactured instinct, manufactured reaction of exhaling first on this. So going to invest more in that practice. workout only has one warm-up set. So stretching, one warm-up set, and on to the exercises. This is the warm-up set. It's also an excuse for me to bring these weights over here. So, yay. That felt perfect. Sometimes I feel something in my shoulders. For the past month, it's been in my right shoulder. A couple months before that, it was in my left shoulder. But now, it's feeling pretty good. Now, granted, I haven't lifted heavy with these weights. What I'm doing is, I think it's kind of heavy for me, but not like, not anything I'm worried about or concerned. Try not to worry, I try to get concerned. I'm just trying to figure out what the difference is, but concerned sounds a lot better. So anyway, those semantics aside, I'm gonna see if I can feel it in that right. Really try to pay attention. I'm gonna pay attention to both my shoulders. Also gonna pay attention to the breath. Also gonna pay attention a little bit to the time. The good news is the time coincides with the breath, so it's not too fast, not too slow of a repetition. Although too slow is probably a misnomer, because from what I understand, sometimes in certain situations, the slower the better. But I'm not going to work on that right now. Too many things to work on. I want to work on only focusing on basically 2 or 3 things. The thing I want to focus on is that mind-body connection. Really try to feel, listen to my body, and then the breath. Those are the 2 things, and making sure the breath coincides with the speed of the exercise. So we'll get to that. These are the things that are going through my head. A little bit of notes taken to myself. I probably have said the same thing 100 times, but it seems like I still need to internalize it further. Oh, and maybe it's a good habit, or maybe it's an excuse for me just to sit down and practice talking for a bit. That was pretty smooth. The body felt pretty good on that. Like, if anything, 2% jarring on the right shoulder, but like just barely noticeable. Like I really had to dive into my feelings and like, oh, maybe that's, but definitely not near anything close to pain. Definitely healing. Sometimes I wish certain healing things took a lot less time, but I'm willing to take the time. This is a lifetime situation. Hopefully I got this body for a lifetime. I mean, of course, of course you do. A lifetime guarantee on your body. I am so glad that this body comes with a lifetime guarantee. I'm going to do another set because I really want to feel some heat going on there. I know sometimes when I do that, I feel like a good little blood flow to the area. And I think this is really good for making the shoulders, I got a feeling that if I've been ignoring that specific exercise for years, and it's probably not been doing me any favors. And I think for mobility and fitness, this is a very good prophylactic measure to not hurt shoulders. So a little bit of a reinforcement there, a little bit of a good, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Prevent shoulder injury. Haven't had any major shoulder injuries, thank goodness, but at the same time, preventative maintenance is a good thing. I go a little extra wide with that, I feel it. And I definitely feel it like in a little tiny line right there. So that's good, I think, I hope. I'm reasonably sure that's good. That felt pretty nice. Feeling that warmth as soon as you finish up. It's kind of cool. It's almost like with the wrist exercises or the forearm exercises where you get done with it and you feel that kind of rush of blood go into the forearms. It's not a huge rush of blood. It's not like you can see it or anything, but I think I can certainly feel it. I don't think I'm fooling myself on that one. I hope it's not psychosomatic. I hope it's the real deal. But even if it's not, hey, some placebos are very real. So I don't mind stacking placebos. Great thing about that is that the weight is so light that if I forget to bring my hips backwards, it's not gonna I'm not gonna be feeling it tomorrow. But at the same time, I always want to condition myself hips backwards. And sometimes it gets a little weird on the start of that. You gotta remember, start out with that thing with the hips backwards. Same thing with this, nice and easy. This leads into the other exercise. It's kind of like this, but holding it like this, spreading those knees, going down as far as possible, and then feels very real world, like real world helping exercise type thing. All right. What's next? Oh yeah, I was sitting there like this, so. Okay. How I hold my wrists makes a lot of difference in that. Kind of strange. Wow, I'm taking up the time, aren't I? Just jawing away, but I'm feeling it. Can't say I'm not feeling it. That feels really good. And it's just 4. It's nice and easy, just enough to feel it and let my body know I care about it. And hopefully it cares about me. And I think it does. I think there's a little bit of a love fest going on there. Trying to treat it right. Get a whole bunch of good water in it. Speaking of that, I'm feeling a little thirst. I'm gonna be gentle with myself and allow myself good water. Not sweating very much, but I am sweating. I feel it. And sweating makes water taste better. So if you ever want to make your water taste better, sweat a little bit. It's good for the water's taste. I'm gonna do that last. Since I'm here, I'm gonna do the reverse flies, which used to not be one of my favorite exercises, but there's something I kind of like about them now. Those are pretty good. Good exercise, enjoyable. These weights are kind of funny because I can slide a pin, I can change the amount, and they weren't that expensive when I got them. So, kind of recommend them. I don't like sliding the pin around too much. It's kind of a, it's not the smoothest procedure. Do it without, see, exactly, gets hung up on stuff. And then you got all those in there. But it is kind of cool in some ways. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It's not as good as the dial. So anyway, gonna go ahead and do those tricep kickbacks. Slow, controlled, try to really hit that edge. I think I'm gonna go for 2 breaths worth with you, which is 8, which I feel like doing just a tiny bit more. And that's a good thing about this workout. I can do a little bit more if I feel like it. Feels a bit nice. Feel that strain on my shoulder a little bit, which is part and parcel. It means I'm doing it right. Hope I was good with timing on that. Just kind of let my thoughts go nowhere for a little bit. And then when they go nowhere, they gently remind me to say, hey, tell your watch you're working out. It has a whole function that says, hey, let me know when you're working out. I'm going to track all sorts of things for you. Okay, watch. You do that. I had the Fitbit once say, I was playing drums. It asked me if I was bicycling. Did a lot of double bass. So, all right, let's see what else is going on with. Yeah, let's get the wrists involved in this situation. Whew. Say I do, 20 exercises in 13 minutes. Is that high intensity interval training? It doesn't feel like it, but maybe it is. I don't know. Oh, feels different than the HIIT training. HIIT. Get moments to rest like this. Of course, this is beyond the 13-minute point, so yeah, I'm doing this kind of slow. But I'm definitely feeling it. Like I'm feeling the blood all around. It feels pretty good. And now that's all around there, it's going to be a good feeling when you do a few push-ups. I might try to double up on the push-ups that I do today. I'm going to do 2 breaths. And instead of doing 1 rep per breath, it feels better doing 2 repetitions per breath phase. So most of my cycles, a breath cycle, and most exercises feels good when it's just 1 repetition. Push-ups and calf raises feel good with 2 repetitions per breath phase. Since there's 4 phases of breath that I'm working on. Usual set for those is about 8, if it's 1 cycle of breath. Now I'm just talking, all right. Trying to get those ideas. So if these ideas materialize and they're worth something, if I say it enough, maybe I restructure it a little bit. Psychosomatic playing, self-hypnotize, whatever you want to call it. I don't 100% know. But it's worth exploring. And this is part of that play, that training for, that psyching up. Not that I'm really intimidated by busting out with a bunch of these, because it's not like I have a set number. Sometimes I used to get intimidated with these. I'd be like, oh man, I can't do X number. I just can't. Or I know I'm going to feel it. Or I know it's going to get real weird. But that's okay. I'm not going for that. Just something I can do just about every day. Or every day. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 yeah, just like blood flow. It's so weird. I remember noticing that when I first started working out. Like, you looked bigger after a workout. I mean, it only lasts for like 2 hours. So, like, if that's your way of getting quote unquote bigger, I mean, at least for me, 2 hours max. But I didn't really know what that was about. But I think it's increased blood flow. I think it's those veins just opening up. And I think that is, dare I say, symptomatic of good health. Feeding that body. Lifetime guarantee on the body. Didn't read the fine print. Couldn't get access to it. But we like the lifetime guarantee. Saw someone do this the other day on a video. The guy was going all the way down and up. I'm like, I've never really tried that. Don't feel like I'm going to. I still kind of feel it, so. If I go too far forward, I feel it way more in my shoulders, it seems. I'm really trying to concentrate on the stomach for this. I know it's a weird stomach exercise, but it feels like it's doing something good. I mean, it's not getting rid of the gut, but it feels like the muscles there are like feeling it. And I just want to be healthy. If being healthy means having a bit of a gut, hey, I'm cool with that. I hope not. I would like to live with like a 6-pack or an 8-pack or whatever those things are. But yeah, it's definitely not the most important thing. Yeah, that's another one that's a bit weird with the breathing. That one, unlike push-ups, is like a half of a repetition is good for the breathing. And sometimes certain phases of breath want a full repetition, so it gets a bit squirrely there. But for that exercise, I'm just going to listen to my body, try to do the breath thing, but the priority is on trying to get that stomach, feeling it, feeling those muscles, without trying to kind of twist them or contort them or, tense them too much, just trying to feel them. Let them know that they're welcome to the conversation and please speak up. Really trying to listen. Speaking of listening, I'm going to challenge myself a little bit on this one. Like I said, I'm going to double up. Instead of a set of 8, it's going to be a set of 16, which equals, mainly focusing on the breath, 2 full breath cycles. So we'll see how that feels, and then I'll do a 3rd breath cycle while just holding it into like that plank position. I love these things. This is great. I don't really do the rotating thing too much. Eventually I'll look up maybe some videos on people who use this and really get into the rotation aspect of it. One thing I could be doing more of is the lower push-ups, where I bring the hands down a bit instead of kind of centering near my shoulders, almost getting like real close to the shoulder, bouncing into this, but a little bit wider because I'm still trying to hit the floor and all that kind of stuff, and definitely trying a bit where I go a little bit higher. So cool thing is, if you want to be able to do less push-ups, try that extra bit near the end. I don't do it on every single push-up, but when I remember I do, it definitely cuts down on the number of push-ups you can do. So, but if you want to go for more, well, I see people who go for more and they don't go all the way down. They definitely don't go all the way up. You still see a bend when they're getting ready to go down. So, and that's fine. I mean, whatever works for you, you know. And some of those guys are amazingly strong that do the push-ups like that. So, you know, that's a good, wonderful thing. Just felt a twinge in my shoulder, so I'm gonna stretch out a little bit there. Just gonna stretch out the other one a little bit. There we go. That's kind of a good back stretch too. Okay, I think we're good. Gonna breathe in and then fire it off. One cycle of breath, feels very smooth. Hoping for that heat. Yeah, just felt the heat kind of come in. It's nice. I could do as little as like 3 push-ups and feel the warmth of heat, especially if I do it cold without doing anything ahead of time. Just feel that blood flow come in. Same thing happens if I do 1 pull-up cold. Just, you know, I'm gonna do one right now just for rinse on it. That was good. Not really too pressed for time right now, so I am kind of taking my time with this stuff, playing around with the little extras. Doesn't really click into place, does it? Let's see about that. Yeah, it does. Huh, wonder of wonders. Okay, time to move to a different aspect. I think I've done, this might have been 20 minutes on its own. Just really shows that time doesn't really matter too much. Nice big swig of drink. Holy cow. I guess we've been having fun, haven't we? Thank goodness it turned on at least one light. Whew. Optimizing a couple little things in my life every now and then. That seems like a good spot. I'm gonna turn on another light. Shed some light on this situation. Oh, there we go. Gotta remember clockwise. Clockwise for a lot of things is good. Almost feels like a nice little rest. But uh-oh. Got off to a slow start on that one. Might be time to lighten the weight, but I don't want to get intimidated. Well, yeah, that might be a good idea. Don't want to get gun shy about any exercise just because, oh man. That's how I feel about pull-ups sometimes. I like them. I make myself like them. But multiple ones, if I'm thinking of a number, get a little gun shy. Even if it's like 3. But now it's like, well, 1. So I'm going to keep messing around with until I'm not so gun shy of 1 and 2. That's part of the reason why I took it out of this program. Or this, specific workout. I'd like to add it in, but this one is really about noticing the hesitation points and getting rid of them. It's like this exercise, even though I upped the weight on what I normally do on this one, I also lowered the number of reps, and definitely not gun shy about this one. As soon as I get in position, it feels good. I don't want to wait and not do it. I want to get my breath right, so I'll have maybe a little bit of pressure from holding my breath for a little bit for that first exhale. But I try to do that with almost all exercises. I don't think that's like a trick where my subconscious is trying to steer away from something or create hesitation, where just because it's a little gun shy. That's a good term for it, I think. Or that might not be the best term, but it's certainly the best one I can think of right now. Of course, right now I just kind of want to take in. Just a moment. Sometimes that's paradiddles on my knees. It's kind of like one of my new things as far as trying to notice a moment. Had a moment? All right, let's do paradiddles on the knees after the moment and kind of internalize it. And it's kind of funny. I'm not really smooth with paradiddles, but after I have a good moment where it's like, hey, this is life, and in this moment, your life at least, nothing bad's going on. Like, it's all cool. I love those moments. I want to stack a lot of those moments throughout my life, and putting a memory tab on them is kind of cool. Especially because the memory tab I should be practicing every day anyway. I don't have any more aspiration to be a professional drummer, but I like drumming, and it's probably something I'll be doing for the rest of my life. And one of my weak spots is some of the rudiments, paradiddles, double paradiddles, See, screwed it up right there. Try to go much faster than that in the double paradiddle. It's not going to really happen. Now the funny thing is I could be doing these things completely wrong. It's based upon stuff I've read in books, and learning drums from a book may not be optimized. Probably sit down with a teacher that just beginning level, and like, oh yeah, you've been practicing all this stuff all wrong for several years. Try it this way, and I'll probably have years of bad habits to go through. So it's probably very good that I'm not aspiring to be a professional drummer. Although I think my bad habits or whatever I am contributes to a different set of style that I play. Using the crutches I have as far as double bass and filling the noise, the sound with that. There's this one beat that the drummer for NoFX does, and it's a variation on the punk beat, but I'm pretty sure he uses double bass. And for me, the basic punk beat is bunch, 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 real fast. So it's like one hand, 1 foot. And this is like 1 hand, 2 feet, and then stuff going on with the hi-hat or the ride or whatever. But it's just like a double bass over, but it's like there's a pause within the double bass. It's almost like, anyway, it's weird, but I can never quite do it right, where I felt like, okay, this is home, I can hang out here for a bit, 5-10 minutes, as opposed to just straight double bass and varying up the snare to add to the variations. And, anyway, enough thinking about drums. It's fun though. Oh goodness. It might look like a lot of junk is around, but it actually is, yes. But it's been reduced a fair amount. So that's good, right? And it continually got reduced. Before I did take tour, I moved a couple things around here. And that's just weekly. Move a couple things, take a couple things out, throw a couple things in the trash. Eventually this place will be a bit more organized than it is now. Wonder of all wonders. Alright. That's enough me talking with a friend. Thank you for being my friend and listening. Alright. Let's go ahead and do this. Let that that pressure from holding my breath build up. It's not really building up. Oh well. And it feels so much better than like putting a knee on that and then going down. I definitely love that knee to elbow situation there. It feels so much more real world, useful strength. Feels nice. Do a couple cycles of breath on that. Because really, this workout, I'm only doing like 3 leg exercises, so I want to put a little bit more cycles of breath on those. So maybe if I do this one, I'll do 2 cycles. Everything else might be just 1. Something to think about. Something to be aware of. Tweaking the design little by little. Like starting out with this first, it's kind of good flow through. Start out with this, go triceps next, and after that sit down facing the wall, facing the machine. Do those basically pull-ups or pull-downs or whatever they were. This is, I guess, standing pull-downs from the back. Try to keep my arms relatively straight, lean back. Tricep. It's just nice. It's just nice. Not too many, not too heavy. Certainly enough for me to feel it. I love those because I can go down instead of just here, a little bit lower, getting that fuller extension. That is a very good thing for me. I also like the fact that I'm not doing reverse flies here. I like doing reverse flies in there with the actual weight. It seems like less range of motion. I'm not sure, but in some ways it's pretty good. I think I'm just going to start these 2 first. Weird, felt something right there. Not necessarily a bad thing, just an awareness thing. Trying to get the weight stack to kind of hit, but also trying not to release that tension, you know? It's kind of a delicate thing I've been working on. I think that's good for the muscles, to not fully release that tension and go back into it. Or maybe it's a good thing to fully release the tension and go back into it, I don't know. But it seems like this is a better way. Not give it too much of a rest, that little bit of weird. I kind of feel that right here. It's almost like I see the muscle kind of ripple a little bit sometimes. That's cool. All right. So doing maintenance on the body that's guaranteed for a lifetime. That'd be a fun name for the workout. This workout, guaranteed for a lifetime. I mean, it's false because I can imagine myself, getting some degenerative disease that affects most folks in their old age. This is part of the process of trying to fight that, as is, no drinking, basically the vegetarian / pescatarian type thing. Vegetarian most of the time, 3 to 4 times a year. I become a pescatarian. I really pester people about, it's pescatarian, I guess, falls in line with something I read from a book called Healthy at 100, which is, what really struck me was the case studies on some of the Okinawans that are over 100 years old. And some of them seem like they only eat fish 3 to 4 times a year, so once every 3 to 4 months. And it's always wild caught fish. So wild caught fish, definitely not every day. So I guess 3 to 4 times a year, you don't get that mercury buildup or whatever. So yeah, that's part of the reason I went vegetarian. At one point I was eating cans and cans of tuna and salmon every day. It was like one of the cheapest ways for me to hit my protein requirements. And it's kind of weird. That was years ago, and now I'm back into protein requirements. But now I get it through protein powders and protein bars, and sometimes the self-contained protein drinks, which are, protein shakes, I guess. Some of those taste better than normal shakes, which is strange. Or maybe my taste buds have changed, or maybe it's a feeling of not having cognitive dissonance about something. Those Okinawans, though, reading about that, the lifestyle led in the book, it's just like, yeah, I want that. I want to be able to walk 4 or 5 miles at over 100 years old and just get to where I'm going and just be cool with it. No aches, no pains, no need for a cane. So yeah, no alcohol, no drugs, vegetarian, part-time pescatarian, daily workouts. Eventually it's going to be daily walking sessions, which reminds me I got a walking session coming up. Hopefully the other half of my walking session will be available. And man, just good stuff. Nothing but good stuff I see down the line. It actually feels really good to look forward to your future in some ways. Some of the stuff I'm learning now, some of the ways I'm growing up, some of the way my sense of humor has changed. I don't ever get offended by anything, but I'm not going to use that shortcut to make something that could possibly be funny. Instead, it's just gross. Just going to the lowest common denominator of gross. Like, that's interesting, but it doesn't need to be said out loud. And within certain company, I know if they can throw a dead baby joke, I can go one level below that. Do I always want to? No. Especially if it's mixed company. But if it's just one-on-one, and they think they've just got the goriest joke ever, throw out something that's just on that level or worse, or somewhere around the neighborhood. But that's not important at all. It's not even really bearing mind worth thinking about. It's just a simple pattern that I've played before and used because I thought in comedy a grunt or a groan was as good as a laugh. That might have been misleading. And I think the purpose for that advice was to mislead me, tell you the truth. I was like, cool, I'm getting a lot of grunts and groans. Let's keep that train going. Well, thank you for watching this far, if you've watched this far. I hope wonderful things in the friendships in your life. And if you're a friend of mine that is watching this, I hope that our friendships continue to mutual benefit. Or our friendship does continue to mutual benefit. I'm going to try something. I've been writing a letter. Well, I want to a company. and it's just dumb enough to work. I know that some people have written letters to like certain companies like, I really like your candy, could you send me a free bag? And I've gotten that. I'm gonna try that to the next extent. Not because I want a free bag of candy, because I might want to change this up. I might want something more substantial on this channel. I might want a reason to really be a champion for something. And for me, that feels like the future of fitness. I think the future of fitness will have a couple really cool things. I think like what it might have is, let's say this machine. This machine is a great machine. I love this machine. It's one of the best investments I've ever had. But imagine if I could keep going, like, boom, and I'm at my weakest point, and then the machine itself drops the weight, just like not drops it 100%, but knocks it down 20%, 10%, 50%, and I can keep going, no stopping, just like, you know, up right here, oh, can't do it. It drops the weight a little bit, keep pushing, and it notices that, and just like I can keep going until it hits, you know, darn near zero. And imagine a machine where one of the things I kind of struggle with on the incline bench is putting the weights up. Let's say I can do a certain heavy weight, and cool. All right, so let's say I can do a really heavy weight, but part of the struggle is getting that weight up there, you know, and putting that weight, you know, back down and racking the weight again. Now, imagine a machine that just like, it knows when you're going to go into it, it adjusts the weight where you're kind of feeling the resistance, like, okay, it's there, and then you go. That is super cool. So, I think that's the future of fitness. I think there's a couple machines out there that do things like that, adjust on the fly, and let you get into the ready position without you having to wrestle with the weight to get into that ready position. So that is one of those machines and ideas and concepts I think will benefit mankind. I remember watching some sci-fi show. I'm not sure if it was Star Trek. It doesn't feel like it was Star Trek. Honestly, not really a huge fan of Star Trek. I should be, but more of a Star Wars type guy. But not that there should be a difference, you know, cats and dogs and all that kind of stuff. I like both cats and dogs. But I saw some sci-fi show where the guy was lying on a bench. He just had these poles, and these little poles, he put them in his hand, and it's like, you know, pressed a button, the poles lit up, and he's like lifting weights, and I'm like, wow, it's like, you know, the poles and the machine was the room, and the room was, you know, creating force fields where these things actually, you know, had the weight he needed, and he pressed a button, and they put him down, and so that was really cool. I thought about how awesome that would be. Great way to avoid injury, great way to kind of, if you're into optimization and maximization, which that's not really my bag. I'm not super into this that far. I don't get excited about that. I like the concept. I've tried it a little bit. It seems nifty, but I'm just not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be. I don't know if I want to be, but if the machine's doing all the optimization for you, and you're not, you know, constantly writing down the numbers and just looking at it and it's adding it all up, it's like, I can optimize a little bit for you. Would you like that? Yeah, sure, let's try that. See how it feels. If it feels amazing, go with it. Just be guided by the algorithm. And the algorithm's constantly shifting based upon your results, changing things, you know, constantly doing that A/B testing that I hate so much as far as manipulating people, but manipulating yourself in the direction that you want to go. A/B testing, awesome. Why not use the power of A/B testing for good? And so I'd be super psyched if there's a machine out there, and I think there is, that has all these possibilities. And I think it's really expensive, way out of my price range. But I also think if I write a letter and convey all these thoughts in a much more clear and coherent manner, and it gets to the right person in the company, they'll be like, okay, hey, let's give this guy a shot. Let's throw him a machine. And we'll tell them, hey, make some videos on it and see how you like it, or make some videos just for them, and you know, they can. I'll be the guinea pig, you know, to a certain extent, you know. And I don't think. I think I know, and I think the folks that would be setting up the guinea pigs would know. Like, hey, we want to do this to, you know, be very careful about not hurting somebody. I would have faith in that. And plus, I would look through the programs and the little knowledge I know. A big piece of it is knowing how not to injure myself in a major way. So far, it doesn't look like it, but I've been doing resistance training on and off for years, and haven't had any serious major injuries ever. I've had stuff that's knocked me out of the game for a couple months though, but it's always kind of come back to 100%. So anyway, enough of me talking. I'm gonna look through the view thing on here and see what it's like with all the lights and stuff. Yeah, that's seeable. That's doable. Oh wow, almost an hour. Goodness gracious, a lot of talking. Well, it's good being friends with you. If anybody watches this, if nobody watches this, thank goodness, because I might have made a lot of silly comments, just me being silly. But anyhow, if somebody did and enjoyed it, thank you. Hopefully you watched it at double time. Didn't take up too much of your time. Hopefully added value to your life. Do well, and later it shall be.